SPMP サイドストーリーくんねちぷ
Previous overview. In order to find out what is going on, Kanasiapu goes to the logging site and the newly created Kodan, where he sees a tall wooden wall and is reminded of the violence of the Wajin. Why would they build such a tall wooden wall? And does the person on the observation deck look around on there all the time? It's kind of scary. I've never felt so scared before. Moreover, the person above me was looking at me all the time, and I thought it was strange. It's a pity that I can't see inside, but I'm going to turn back here. On the way home, I suddenly noticed something while walking. Normally, when I'm walking this long distance, I see someone along the way, but today I didn't see anyone. I understand that there are no children, but it's a little weird that I can't see the adults either. Maybe everyone is wary and trying not to go outside. Maybe it's that dangerous. From what I saw today, I was a little scared, but I don't think it's a very dangerous situation, and I've seen it all, so I'm going back to Kodan for the time being so that Grandma won't be worried. I was able to return to Palakodan earlier than expected, and the sun was still high, so the children were playing as usual. However, there were fewer people than before, and I felt a little lonely. Does that mean that there are so many people who hate Wajin? As I was thinking about this and looking at the children, I saw a man running towards my house. I wondered and followed him, and when he arrived at my house, he walked straight into the house. When I entered the house, my grandmother was listening to him, and her face lit up when she heard his story. I stood next to my grandmother and tried to listen to the conversation between him and my grandmother, but his talk was short, and he said that he would come back to let my grandmother know if there was anything else I found out again, and he left the room. As he left the room, my grandmother hugged my shoulder and told me that my parents were coming home. With these words of my grandmother, all my anxiety disappeared. I hugged my grandma and rejoiced. If everything goes back to normal, my sister will be able to come back. But this joy was short-lived. The news that the parents were returning home quickly spread throughout Kodan, and a large number of people gathered in the square in front of the observation tower. As I watched from a distance, their expressions varied. That's right. Some of them have blamed us before, and we still have lumps. Apparently, not everything will be solved when the parents return. The next day, in the early afternoon, my parents returned, and to my surprise, Susa was behind them. My parents looked at me and smiled at me, but I was a little angry when Susa smiled behind me. So I ran up to Susa and kicked him in the leg with all my might. Then Susa was in pain, but my legs hurt so much that I cried, and I crouched down. I said to Susa, "What a stiff foot you have, stone man." And he replied in our language when I immediately replied, "You're bad." And immediately after that, I was surprised by what he said. Does this person know our language? When Susa saw my expression, he started laughing out loud, and my mom immediately ran up to me, but my dad was laughing with him, so I was kind of embarrassed. After that, when the four of us were heading home, the people around us glared at us, and I was uncomfortable. We haven't done anything wrong. When we entered the house, my grandmother seemed surprised and was silent for a while. But soon my grandmother smiled and started preparing the meal, and that night Susa told us why he came here and what he had been up to. Today's story ends. The continuation of the story will be updated tomorrow. Please look forward to. If you like, please subscribe to the channel. See you again.